In this video, I will be showing you how to view GL accounts, view project accounts, and run budget reports that you may find useful in your day-to-day interactions with Incode 10. First, we will go over viewing GL accounts. In the main menu to the left, go to General Ledger and Account Summary. Here you can enter specific search criteria such as the account number, the name, the account key, which is just the account number without the dashes. And then when you're done, you can hit search. Be sure that you are looking in the correct fiscal year. You can also be more general with your search by leaving the searches here only partially filled out or completely blank and clicking search. This will bring up all available accounts. You can then perform your search in the cells below the column headers here. This will allow you to search and sort and filter, and more easily allows you to see a selection of accounts rather than just one specific account. Another option, once you have your selection, you can export this grid by right-clicking anywhere on the grid, hitting export, save, and it'll bring up the grid on an Excel file. Now, when you're looking at this in Incode, you can use this as such. In this column here, you can see your original budget, your budget adjustments, such as a mid-year budget review, anything that comes up mid-year. Those two combined will make up your current budget. Your activity, which is a record of payments made to the account. Encumbrances, which is money that has been committed or promised but hasn't been paid yet. The most common example is a purchase order. Reserves, which show the amounts for purchase orders that have not been approved. So the order kind of goes from right to left. If you make a requisition and it hasn't been approved yet, you'll see the amount in here. Once it is approved and becomes a purchase order, you'll see that money here as money that has now been promised to that vendor but hasn't actually been paid yet. As it gets paid, it'll be reduced from encumbrances and added to activity, which just maintains a record of the payments made to that specific account. You can click on any one account to see more specific detail. The first page you see is the summary page. Here you will find various overviews, recent activity, a budget summary, etc. You can even see what the old account number was in Incode 9, the previous version of Incode, for those of you that find that helpful. On the left side of this window are all the viewing options for this account. The most common options you'll be using is the detail under history and the summary under budget. So in detail under history, make sure the first thing you do is pay close attention to the fiscal year and make sure that you're in the correct fiscal year. And in here, you can see each individual transaction that went to this account. You'll see it's laid out a lot like the account search window. So again, you can search, sort, filter, and export. Next thing we'll cover in budget summary, we'll give you an overview of the budget and the activity for the specific account. You can even click on any underlined number to immediately jump to the information. Next, we will look at project accounts. In the main menu, go to Project Accounting and Projects. Search for your projects like you did with the GL account by entering specific criteria or just hitting search to view all available projects. At this point, it's important to know some key differences between this Incode and the previous version in regards to projects. In Incode 9, each project could contain multiple, quote, line items to track different jobs within a project. Incode 10, however, has changed the terminology. It's no longer line items, it is project accounts, and they are broken out separately and can be viewed separately from its parent project. To view the project accounts within a parent project, go to the Accounts tab. So here for this example, we see zoo projects under 554, and in Accounts, we see all the individual accounts, which used to be the line items in Incode 9. You can double click on any of these to bring up a separate window that shows the specifics for that line item account. You can go to the activity account to see all the activity put to this project account rather. You can also access individual accounts directly by under project accounting and going to project accounts and search for them the same way you have with all the others. Next, we will cover how to run reports. In the main menu, go up to Common, Reporting, and Reporting. You can select a category to try and narrow down your report. You can also just click All Reports. Generally, it's most likely what you'll find is in the General Ledger. Here, again, you can search this just like every other module that we've shown. I recommend expanding this report summary column because this will give you the detail of what each report contains. Now, the flow of reports goes as such. Find the report you want to run, double click. It'll bring up a window of the criteria you want for that specific report. You enter the criteria you want, and then hit Run. Once you've run a report, it'll show up in your Deliveries module. That you'll find under Common, Reporting, Deliveries. Deliveries keeps all the reports that you've run, so you can access them at any time. When your report is finished, it'll pop up at the top, and you can double click to view your report. If a report seems to not be showing up in your deliveries promptly, it could be because it's still processing. It could be a larger report. You can check on that by going underneath Common, Reporting, Queue to see all the reports currently processing. Make sure you hit refresh so you're seeing the most up-to-date information. So for a specific example, we're going to run a budget report. And for the purposes of this example, we'll use the zoo. So the fiscal year, you'll want to be the current, unless you're wanting to get historical data. You'll want to leave the fund blank because you'll want your department to be driving this search criteria. And how you do that is you go down to Segment Filters, and in Filter One Segment, you want it to say Department. Then you enter your department number. You can either enter it directly, if you know it. You can pick from the drop-down list, or if you click the little box here, you can do this anywhere on these criteria. It'll bring up a window that allows you to search similar to everywhere else we've seen. So if we know that the zoo is 4404, then we'll see the zoo right there. Or if we're not sure, we can click on a couple, we can go look, and we can add them as needed, and you can add multiples if you want. But for the purpose of this example, we're just going to want the zoo, 4404. Now up here, you'll want to just be showing expense. You'll want to make sure you're looking at summary and detail, and you want to make sure you click on include encumbrances. When that's done, you run report, then go wait for it in deliveries, or you can watch it in the queue. And then when it's ready, you can click on it. So here we have a budget report for the zoo for fiscal year 2021 up through the end of December. Here you can see the fund, then the specific account, the name, and then again, similar to what you saw in the account summary window, you'll see the original budget, the current budget, your activity for the period, which generally just means for the month, the fiscal activity, so all activity for the year up to the state, the encumbrances, which again are for the purchase orders that are tied to that account, how much you are over or under budget, how much of your budget is remaining. Any of these accounts in blue, you can click on to bring you directly to a separate window that shows the account exactly like how I showed you earlier with the summary, the detail, so you can look at any of the more specific information. When you have a report you like, you can print it, you can export it as a PDF, you can also export it as Excel. However, it's a little temperamental. I recommend anytime you are looking at a grid, such as this, I recommend doing export grid. This will give you the cleanest Excel. If you're trying to do it from a report, they can be a little temperamental. So this is how I'd recommend doing it if you'd like to do it. You go to export to Excel, like I just showed, and you'll want to make sure that the only box checked of these boxes here is export data only. If you don't click that, it'll try to keep its fancy formatting, the Eureka logo, it'll merge a bunch of cells together, it'll be very messy and it will require a lot of cleanup. This way, it'll still require a bit of cleanup. Some reports are better than others, but just make sure that that box is checked. You can't go far wrong doing that. Another report I will give you as an example is the detail versus budget report. You can find this right down here, or if you know the name or are searching for it, you can search up here, detail versus budget report. Now you can enter a specific date range. Generally speaking though, I would recommend doing beginning of the fiscal year to the current date. Now you set this up very similar to the budget report. You just want to show expenses. You want your segment filter to be department, your department, in this case, the zoo, 4404. You want your style to show detail and summary. The more information, the better. And it already has include encumbrances. Go ahead and run report. And when it pops up, you can click into it. Now this is very similar to the budget report. The reason why I'm showing you this one as well is because it also includes the activity for each account. So up at the top, you will see the fund, the account, which of course you can click into as before. Then you can also see the encumbrances, the budget, the activity, the budget remaining, but then below it'll list all the transactions put to this account so far during your date range that you've selected for the report. So these are just suggestions as to reports that you might find useful. Feel free to explore the other reports that are available to you. And as always, you can contact Incode help at ci.eureka.ca.gov with any questions.